In this section, we are going to discuss about another important property called ref, that is REF, that is the reference of any DOM element using the React. Let me first of all open the official documentation to have a quick look what the official site says about the REF. It says that the refs provides a way to access DOM nodes or React elements created in the render method. Similarly, if you want to get the reference of the element, you can use the ref, that is REF attribute. We must also understand that we must not overuse the REF because there are various ways to access the elements of React form or maybe the page. So accessing DOM is not something which you need to do extensively. But there are situations where you need to do it. For example, you want to set the focus on a specific text box, or let's say you want to trigger the imperative animations, or in some cases you may want to include the third-party DOM libraries. Such cases are the examples of ref. How to use ref? Let's start working it with REF, that is the ref, practically. I will begin with a class-based component and then we will convert it into a hook, that is a functional component. Earlier we had directly REF property to access an element. Here I have created one class-based component where we have two text boxes, that is input type equal to text, and we also have set focus button. Now when I refresh the page, as you can see that the cursor is not in any of the text box. Let's say, for example, you have a need that you want to set the cursor, that is you want to set the focus on a particular element. Assume that we want to set the focus here on the second text box when this button is clicked. If you have to implement that, you can use REF. How? Let's try this. Because we are in the class-based component, let's say here I am going to add the ref, which is the attribute. Here in the ref, there will be an arrow function where the reference of element is passed. If you specify this function, the reference of element is always passed, and that we can set to this dot, let's say the input element. That's what we name it. I element, I will say input element, and that I will assign with the passed value. Now for example, on this button click, we want to set the focus on the second text box. So now we have a reference of this particular text box in I element. The way we have get element by ID in JavaScript. So here what I am going to do is I am going to write on click of the button. What I want to do is I want to call this dot I element dot focus. This is the core JavaScript event which we are writing. That's it. Let me just refresh this and click on this. So now as you can see, we have the focus set in the second text box. Assume that you want to do this on load of a component. It generally happens that when a component is loaded, you want to set the focus. If so, you can use the component lifecycle method. Here, if we want to do the same thing, I can use the component did mount lifecycle method, and inside this, again, I can call similarly this dot I element dot focus. Let me just refresh it again. And you see that first go, we have the focus set in the second text box. There is one relative question is that what is the use of REF, or in which situation you will use REF, that is the reference. So we have already seen that when it comes to referring directly the element, you use the REF, but you do have to take care, as you see in this official documentation. It says that the refs provides a way to access DOM nodes or React elements created in the render method. Similarly, if you want to get the reference of the element, you can use the ref, that is ref attribute.